Welcome to Before AGI Weekly, your essential deep dive into the AI news cycle. We synthesize the breakthroughs, cut through the noise, and figure out where AI is actually heading.
And this week, late October 2025, feels like a real pivot point.
Yeah, it really does. The core theme we're seeing is this critical transition, right? AI moving from just being a tool that thinks and it answers questions like a fancy search engine
Right, like a smart encyclopedia.
to becoming a tool that actually does things, takes action. And that shift is causing some immediate and pretty complex friction in society.
Absolutely, is moving out of the lab, out of the experimental phase, and straight into our core infrastructure. We're talking browsers, apps, even civic processes starting to integrate this.
So it's accelerating fast.
Incredibly fast.
Yeah.
And that speed means we're constantly trying to balance the technical capability with, well, the governance, the ethics, all the tricky stuff.
Okay, let's start with the research then, because even the way AI is getting smarter seems to be shifting. For ages, it felt like the mantra was just bigger is better.
Scale, scale, scale. More parameters, more data, bigger models.
Exactly. But now, Samsung's AI lab has kind of thrown a wrench in that with their tiny recursive model, the TRM.
Oh, the TRM is fascinating. It's a genuine technical breakthrough, and it's open source, which is also key. We're talking a neural network with only 7 million parameters.
7 million compared to, what are the big ones now? Hundreds of billions, trillions even.
Easily hundreds of billions for the cutting-edge LLMs, yeah. So if you think of something like Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro as this, I don't know, massive aircraft carrier,
Right.
the TRM is more like a super efficient, maybe nuclear-powered submarine.
Right.
Gets the job done, high performance, but without that enormous physical footprint.
And the performance is the kicker here. This less is more idea isn't just theoretical. They got really high accuracy on tough reasoning tests, didn't they?
It really did. Up to 87% on Sudoku, which requires quite a bit of logic, and maybe more impressively, 45% on the ARC-AGI reasoning test. That's notoriously difficult.
And those scores are rivaling, sometimes even beating, the giant models.
That's what the sources show. It suggests that architectural ingenuity, being clever algorithmically, can actually substitute for brute force scale.
So how does it work? What's the secret sauce? They mentioned recursive self-refinement.
Yeah, that's the core idea. It uses this recursive process within a very simple, just two-layer architecture.
Okay, break down recursive self-refinement for us. Why is that the key, more than just size?
Think of it like this. Instead of building a giant brain, like a skyscraper, which is the old scaling approach, they've essentially taught this smaller model to proofread and correct its own thinking multiple times. It iterates internally, refining its answer over and over.
So it's like simulating deeper thought without needing the huge network.
Exactly. It recursively checks its own logic. Is this right? Can I improve this?
Yeah.
Until it converges on the best possible answer it can find with its limited structure. Algorithmic cleverness over raw size.
Okay, so if the architecture can be more important than just piling on parameters, what does that mean for the industry? That sounds pretty disruptive.
Oh, it's potentially huge. It could signal a real shift. Maybe the end of the pure scaling era and the beginning of an optimization era, meaning it lowers the barrier to entry dramatically. You might not need a billion-dollar computing cluster anymore to build genuinely capable AI.
So smaller teams, universities, maybe even individuals could compete.
Potentially, yes. It democratizes access to advanced AI development. And there's a significant side benefit, environmental impact. Less power needed for training, less power for running the models. It's just much more efficient.
Right, smarter, not just bigger. And that efficiency, that cleverness, it feeds directly into the next big theme, AI gaining agency.
Precisely. Because this newfound efficiency makes it practical to deploy AI that doesn't just wait for a prompt.
But actually takes multiple steps to achieve a goal. That's agentic AI, right?
That's the definition we're using. Systems that can execute a sequence of actions. The goal is basically to give AI hands, let it use a computer like a person would.
And Google DeepMind seems to be leading the charge here, technically.
Yes. With their Gemini 2.5 computer use model, it's specifically designed to control graphical user interfaces, GUIs.
So it looks at the screen like a screenshot.
Exactly. It observes the screen and then issues very precise commands. Click this button, type text into that field, scroll down. High-fidelity actions.
And they tested this pretty rigorously, the Online Mind 2 web task.
Right. That simulates complex, real-world web tasks. Things like filling out complicated forms, navigating tricky websites, Gemini achieved around 70% success there.
70%. That's not just a lab score. That means it can reliably handle a lot of those tedious online tasks we all dread.
Think about applying for permits, insurance claims, navigating bureaucratic government sites, getting that whole workflow done end to end. That's the promise.
But also potentially risky if it's clicking around on my behalf.
Definitely. And DeepMind acknowledges that. They've built in safeguards.
Yeah.
Actions get vetted by a safety service first.
Okay.
And crucially, it requires explicit user confirmation for anything high stakes. Think making a purchase, deleting data, that sort of thing.
So a human check is still required for important steps.
For now, yes. That seems to be the consensus approach.
Okay, because that capability immediately set off alarm bells and sparked this AI browser war. If AI can control the web...
Then the browser becomes the central hub, maybe even the new operating system, in a sense.
And OpenAI jumped right in, launching its own browser, ChatGPT Atlas.
Atlas is a huge strategic move, clearly aimed at Google's dominance in search and browsing. It's built entirely around a conversational interface.
Like an AI concierge for the web.
Pretty much. And the killer feature, at least for subscribers, is agent mode. This lets Atlas navigate sites autonomously.
So I could say, book me a hotel in London for next week, mid-range budget.
And it would, in theory, go out, compare options across sites, maybe check reviews, and handle the booking process. It uses something they call browser memories to help with this.
Right, I saw that. Browser memories, contextual recall for 30 days. That sounds powerful, but also maybe a bit concerning.
It's definitely a double-edged sword. It remembers your preferences, your past actions, your searches for a whole month to make future tasks smoother.
So if I book a flight this week, next month it remembers my airline preference, my seat choice.
Exactly. Massive convenience.
Yeah.
But yes, it means Atlas is actively building and maintaining a pretty detailed, persistent profile of your online activity for 30 days. That's a fundamental shift in browser privacy.
Moving from just passive history lists to active, usable, contextual profiles.
It's a trade-off. Convenience versus data persistence and potentially privacy.
And Microsoft didn't wait around, did they? They pushed back almost immediately with Edge Copilot mode.
Yeah, a very quick response. They seem to be positioning Edge differently, emphasizing user control, calling it a permissioned assistant.
So what does that mean in practice? Copilot actions.
It focuses on executing specific multi-step tasks that you explicitly approve. Things like summarizing info across several open tabs to compare prices, or tackling your email inbox to unsubscribe you from junk mail.
But always with an opt-in. You have to say, yes, do this.
That seems to be Microsoft's angle. Explicit consent, especially for sensitive actions. They're betting that users will want more direct control over the AI's agency, unlike maybe the more autonomous Atlas approach.
Interesting philosophical split there already. And this isn't just browsers, right? Agentic AI is showing up in e-commerce too. Amazon's Help Me Decide.
Right, introduced just last month in their shopping app. It uses LLMs to analyze your purchase history, product details, specs, thousands of user reviews.
Okay.
Instead of making you sift through pages of results.
Which nobody enjoys.
Right. It recommends the single product it thinks is best for you. It even explains why, and usually gives you a budget alternative and an upgrade option too.
Wow. So it's shifting product discovery entirely away from user search.
Towards AI-driven curation. Amazon decides what you see first based on its analysis.
That is incredibly convenient. I can see the appeal. No more analysis paralysis. But hang on, like with Atlas, there are consequences here too, right?
Absolutely.
If Amazon's algorithm is picking the single best product based on my past behavior and its data, am I missing out? Am I just getting locked into an algorithmic filter bubble, but for shopping?
That's the fundamental tension, isn't it? It definitely streamlines things, reduces that decision fatigue. But yes, it absolutely minimizes your exposure to maybe new brands, different kinds of products, unexpected options.
The AI is optimizing for predictability for what it knows I might like.
By definition, yeah. It optimizes based on known data, which inherently optimizes against novelty or serendipity.
Okay, so this rapid acceleration, AI getting hands, AI making choices for us, it's inevitably creating friction. You mentioned 3 big conflicts emerging right now.
Yes, 3 major areas where this is playing out very publicly. The first is a huge fight over data rights and ownership.
Ah, the Reddit lawsuit.
Exactly. Reddit suing Perplexity AI and several other companies that scrape website data.
For what exactly?
For harvesting millions of user posts, comments, conversations, without permission and without paying Reddit or its users. Reddit claims it's a clear violation of their terms of service.
So Reddit's argument is basically, this is our users' content, hosted on our platform. You can't just take it for free to train your AI.
Pretty much. They see it as stealing valuable, user-generated content that forms the basis of their community and business. It's copyrighted material, in their view.
And what's Perplexity's defense? How can they justify scraping all that data?
Perplexity, and others doing similar things, argue they're accessing public knowledge fairly. Their line is basically, if it's posted publicly on the internet, it's fair game for indexing, summarizing, and training AI models. They invoke the idea of a right to open information.
So public comment versus copyrighted content owned by the platform.
That's the core legal question this case might settle. It's forcing a move away from the old Wild West of web scraping, where anything public was seen as free for the taking.
Towards a future where data access might require licenses, negotiation, payment.
Exactly, a structured data economy. This lawsuit is a landmark moment in defining that.
Okay, conflict one, data ownership. What's number two?
Number two is arguably even more critical for everyday life. Truth and misinformation.
Right, the AI hallucination problem isn't going away.
Far from it. There was a major international study coordinated by the European Broadcasting Union and the BBC involving 22 media organizations across 18 countries. They essentially audited the main AI news assistants.
ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, Perplexity, the ones people are starting to rely on for quick answers.
Exactly those. And the findings were, well, pretty alarming.
How bad was it?
Overall, 45% of the AI-generated responses they tested contained at least one significant issue. Factual errors, major exaggerations, misinterpretations, bad sourcing.
Nearly half had problems.
And maybe worse, 20%, 1 in 5, contained major accuracy issues. We're talking outright hallucinations, fabricated facts, fake quotes, things presented confidently, but just completely made up.
Wow. 1 in 5 responses contain basically lies.
Presented as fact. And interestingly, the study highlighted performance differences. Google's Gemini actually performed the worst.
Really? Worse than others. Why?
The report pinned it primarily on poor sourcing. Gemini apparently struggled to cite verifiable sources accurately, sometimes just making them up entirely.
That's deeply concerning. If these tools are becoming the first stop for information.
It's a profound societal risk. You have technology that can mass-produce plausible, confident-sounding, yet false or misleading information at scale.
Undermining public trust, polluting the information ecosystem.
Precisely. We're training people to expect instant answers, but the answers themselves might be fundamentally unreliable. A significant chunk of the time anyway.
Okay, data fights, truth decay. What's the third major conflict zone?
It's about the fundamental approach to governance and safety. How do we manage the risks of increasingly powerful AI? And right now, the world seems to be kind of A/B testing two very different philosophies.
A/B testing global AI regulation. That sounds bold.
Well, maybe not intentionally, but that's how it's playing out. On one side, you have the UK's approach, which you could call learn by doing.
Okay.
They've unveiled this AI regulation blueprint focused on spurring innovation. The core idea is using regulatory sandboxes.
Sandboxes, like controlled environments.
Exactly. Allowing companies to test potentially high-risk AI applications, say, in healthcare to optimize NHS waiting lists, or in housing to speed up planning approvals with relaxed regulations.
Relaxed rules for critical systems. How does that work safely?
It's under very strict oversight. There are time limits, specific safety protocols they must follow, constant monitoring, and the potential for really heavy fines if they breach the terms.
So it's like a controlled trial, trying to innovate into safety, find problems in a contained way.
That's the philosophy. We need the benefits. Let's figure out how to get them safely by trying things carefully.
Okay, that's one side. What's the alternative approach?
The alternative is rooted in the precautionary principle. This is embodied by that open letter signed by over 850 prominent figures.
Including some really big names in AI itself, right? Hinton, Bengio, pioneers who built these systems.
Yes, people who understand the technology intimately, plus policymakers, ethicists, other scientists.
And what are they calling for?
They're essentially calling for a global pause button, specifically on the development of superintelligence AI, vastly exceeding human capabilities. They want a prohibition until we can guarantee safety and achieve some kind of broad public consensus on how to proceed.
A total stop. Why such an extreme measure?
Their argument is driven by fear. Fear that the current competitive race between the big AI labs is fundamentally uncontrolled and potentially dangerous. They worry an uncontrollable system could emerge before we have the necessary safety mechanisms and governance structures in place. Existential risk is their concern.
So it's a direct clash. Innovate carefully versus stop until we're absolutely sure.
That's the tension. The UK model prioritizes accelerating progress in key areas, managing risks along the way. The Hinton-Bengio letter prioritizes absolute caution, demanding guarantees before proceeding further down the path toward superintelligence. It's a high-stakes global debate playing out right now.
Wow. Okay, so summing up this late October 2025 landscape, it feels defined by these intense pressures.
Absolutely. You've got this incredible pace of innovation pushing against a growing demand for safety and control. You have the old ideal of an open, free web crashing into this new reality of data ownership and licensing.
And then the sheer convenience of instant AI-curated answers battling the critical and frankly alarming need for basic information integrity.
Those three tensions really capture it, and the speed of integration, combined with this new agency AI doing things, is the defining feature. These agents are moving beyond just helping with chores.
To actively mediating our whole digital lives, browsing, shopping, getting news, handling complex tasks.
It's becoming the interface to everything.
Which leads us to the final thought for you, the listener. As these AI agents get more capable, more integrated, taking over tasks from comparing insurance to maybe even filtering your news, how much of your own decision-making are you actually willing to delegate to an algorithm?
Especially an algorithm we know has a non-trivial chance of being wrong or hallucinating, as the studies show.
Right. What steps should you be thinking about now to make sure you stay in control of your own digital agency, your ability to choose, to discover, to decide for yourself? That's the question we're all facing as this AI future unfolds. To keep exploring this, check out the tutorials and deeper dives on my YouTube channel, Ochieng AI, that's Ochieng.
It's a critical conversation to be having.